Stephen Fisk, who's been serving a term of borstal training at an open institution and who has reached discharge grade, is charged with theft, a crime that it is alleged he committed during a one-day visit to Fulchester town centre. This visit, which was unsupervised, is a privilege that can be awarded to discharge grade trainees under the borstal system.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Stephen William Fisk. You are charged with theft contrary to Section 1 of the Theft Act 1968. And the particulars are that on the 17th of January 1978 at Fulchester, you did steal one battery alarm clock, value £14.20, and one ceiling spotlight, value £4.95, the property of James Fern Electrics. To this charge, do you plead guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty, sir.
I was reserve sergeant on desk duty at Fulchester on that day.
On the 17th of January?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Did you see the accused on that day?
I did.
Where did you see him?
Well, he came into the station, into the desk area at about 12:30, 20 to 1.
Yes. Now, had he been asked to call at the police station, or did he arrive of his own accord?
Of his own accord. He just sort of wandered in.
Then what did he do?
Well, he just stood around for a while, sort of waiting. He was carrying 2 small boxes. I knew where he was from the moment I set eyes on him. His kind, they have a certain way of standing, a certain way of hanging about, waiting to be spoken to first.
What exactly do you mean, his kind?
A borstal boy, Your Honour. Well, we've had trouble with them up at that place before. Escapees.
That place?
Paris Grange Borstal, Your Honour.
Really, this is not good enough. Sergeant, you ought to know better.
Your Honour.
You know perfectly well that except in circumstances which have not arisen in this case, juries are not permitted to know that an accused person has been in trouble with the police before. It may mean that we have to discharge the jury and start all over again.
Your Honour, if I may explain.
Yes?
Your Honour, I have discussed this matter with my learned friend, and he intimated he was quite agreeable to this information being disclosed by the Crown.
Well, that does put a different complexion on things, Mr. Pettifer, yes. Can I take it that the accused was not unlawfully at large when the offence was committed?
No, Your Honour, this will be explained.
But in what manner? Mr. Lloyd?
Your Honour, my client is not guilty of a prison breach, and it is unfortunate, if I may say so, that this suggestion has been made. Be that as it may, it is my intention to call him as a witness, and bearing in mind the Evidence Act, I had intended to make his situation, the fact that he's serving a sentence, known to the court.
I see. Well, it's not the way I would necessarily have dealt with it, but I would be prepared, if you and your client wish to change your minds, to take the exceptional step of discharging the jury now and starting again. Now, what do you say?
Doesn't really make a lot of difference, sir, does it?
Yeah? How do you mean?
Well, unless you go 500 or 600 miles to get yourself another jury, Paris Grange is still going to be that place up the road.
I think you should leave this to your counsel, Fisk.
Your Honour, I have considered all this and decided how I would conduct the case and explain this to my client.
Very well. Carry on.
Now, Sergeant.
Get off, will you? I've been caught in that. Yeah, well, I've got it, haven't I? Sorry, sir.
When I asked him what he wanted, he placed the 2 boxes down on the desk counter.
Exhibits 1 and 2, please. Are these the 2 boxes?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Did you open the boxes?
I did.
What did they contain?
One contained an electric alarm clock, the other a ceiling spotlight with bulb and fittings.
Exhibits 3 and 4, please. Are these the 2 items?
They are, sir, yes.
Did you ask the accused why he had brought them to the police station?
Yes, his reply was that he'd stolen them.
He told you that he had stolen them?
Yes, from Fern's Electrics, a shop in Parsonage Road.
Yes. What did you do then?
I cautioned him. His reply was, "Just let me make a statement, will you?" I then called in another officer, Police Constable Daniels. In his presence, I cautioned the accused a second time. He then made a written statement, the time, date, and place of which is recorded.
Yes. Exhibit 5, please. Is that the statement?
Yes, sir.
Would you read it to the court, Sergeant?
This statement, consisting of 1 page signed by me, is true to the best of my knowledge and belief, and I make it knowing that if it is tendered in evidence, I shall be liable to prosecution if I have wilfully stated in it anything which I know to be false or do not believe to be true. I came into town today. I went to this shop and nicked a clock and some sort of light. I knew what I was doing and did it. I then took the items that I thieved to the nearest police station and admitted stealing them. Signed, Stephen Fisk, witnessed by myself and P.C. Daniels.
Is that all?
Yes, Your Honour.
So, after the statement had been made, what did you do?
I sent for the owner of the shop, a Mrs. Barbara Fern, and I cautioned the accused and told him I was arresting him.
Why did you do that?
Well, because of his statement, Your Honour, and because of the address he'd given me, care of Powys Grange. I thought at the time that he might have been unlawfully at large. Oh, it is all right to say that, is it?
If you say it as you've just said it, yes.
Now, did you make any attempt to find out whether or not the accused was unlawfully at large from Powys Grange on that day?
Yes, sir. I telephoned them and spoke to a housemaster there. I was told by him that Fisk had been allowed unsupervised liberty for that day.
To go to Fulchester?
Yes.
Yes. Then what did you do?
Well, I informed the housemaster of the circumstances and explained what had happened. Later, the owner of Fern Electrics came into the station, and in the presence of the accused, she identified the property as belonging to her. I then formally charged the accused with theft.
Oh, is this shop owner to be called as a witness?
Yes, Your Honour. Now, when the formal charge had been made, did you search the accused?
Yes, sir.
What was the result of that search?
Well, apart from 6 safety matches, a comb, a handkerchief, and a tin containing approximately 1/8 of an ounce of tobacco, the accused was also in possession of £15 in £1 notes and 84 pence in small change.
Yes. £15. Have you any idea how much a trainee earns per week?
Well, not at the time, sir, but I've since learned that it's in the region of 74 pence, even at the highest grade.
Yes. Did you ask him how he'd come by that sum of money?
Yes, but he refused to give any explanation.
I see. Thank you, Sergeant.
This took place approximately 3 months ago, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
During which time the accused has been held in Castleton Borstal, a closed institution. Is that also correct?
Yes.
Now, had the police received any reports of the theft of £15 in the Fulchester area on January the 17th?
No.
And during the past 3 months, has anyone come forward to make a complaint about the theft of such a sum?
No, sir.
Therefore, the £15 still remains unaccounted for.
Yes.
And in other words, it cannot be described as stolen money.
Not to date, no.
Well, I'd relax on that one if I were you, Sergeant. I doubt if it ever will be reported as stolen. Now, you say that when the accused arrived at the police station, of his own free will, on the 17th of January, he was carrying those 2 boxes, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, what would you say was the distance between Fern's Electrics and the police station?
Well, I don't know, less than 1/4 of a mile?
Yes, and how long would you say it would take to walk that distance?
Well, it depends.
Well, for an able-bodied youth of 21, how long? An hour? Half an hour? 15 minutes?
A bit less than 15 minutes, I'd say.
I see. Now, when the accused handed you the items of stolen property, were they as you see them now?
Sorry?
Were they in their boxes, or had they been removed from them?
They were in the boxes.
Yeah, and were the boxes sealed or unsealed?
They were sealed.
With what?
Well, with the maker's tape.
Yes. So who was the first person to open the boxes after they'd been taken from the shop?
Me.
Therefore, the accused would have no idea then of the true contents of the boxes.
There are illustrations on the boxes.
Were they priced?
Priced?
Yes. Were there price tags on the boxes?
No.
So, in other words, the accused was not 100% sure of the contents of the boxes or of their value when he took them from the shop. Would you agree with that?
He still stole them.
No. He said he did. Did he tell you why?
No, sir.
Did you not bother to ask him why?
No, why should I? He admitted theft.
But were you not interested to know?
No what, sir?
Whether he'd stolen them for fun, for gain, for revenge?
No.
So you were never once curious enough to ask why he'd bothered to pick up those boxes from Fern's Electrics, walk directly to you with them, hand them over to you, and without once examining the contents?
No, as I said, he admitted theft. That was enough for me.
Yes, well, that is why he has now pleaded not guilty to this charge. He may have taken those goods, but the court will hear that he was not acting dishonestly in doing so, and he did not appropriate the goods with the intention of depriving the owner of them. Otherwise, why should he bring them straight to you?
I don't know, sir.
Thank you.
Fern Electrics?
My husband does electrical repair work around the district. I just work in the shop, that's all. I'm always in the shop, 6 days a week.
Yes. Now, did the accused ever visit your shop?
Yes, once.
When was that?
The day those things were stolen.
The clock and the spot lamp.
Yes.
Had you seen the accused in your shop before that day?
No.
Did you speak to him on that day?
No, he was waiting around near the door. Waiting to be served, I thought.
Were there any other customers in the shop?
3 or 4. But there was only me, so they had to wait, didn't they? Can't do everything on my own.
No. Now, did you see the accused take the items?
No, I was busy. But I remember seeing him in the shop.
Yes. Could you remember other customers in the shop?
Yes. You only need to look once, don't you? Look up and see. It's like a habit.
Would you explain that, please?
Oh, sorry. There's 2 steps up to the shop door. Well, the door sticks anyway, has to be shoved open. And there's this musical bell attached to the door. My husband told me so. Over the years, you get used to looking up every time the bell rings. You look at a face, then get back to whatever you're doing.
So, shop bell rang, you looked up, you saw the accused.
Yes.
Yes. Did you look up again as he left?
Yes, but I only sort of saw the back of him going out. A lot of people won't wait to be served. I suppose no one has any patience these days.
Now, did you see the accused carrying anything as he went out?
No, I was too busy for anything like that. Anyway, you only look for faces. Look up and see faces. It's a habit.
So when did you learn these items were missing?
When the police telephoned me. I had to traipse round and identify them, didn't I?
Yes, and you identified them as goods that were in your shop, did you?
Yes, they'd been at the back of the display window.
And when you returned to your shop, what did you do?
I had to get back to work, didn't I? I had to use my lunch break to go traipsing around the police station.
Yes. But did you look in the display window when you returned?
Yes.
Yes, and now were the items there or not?
Of course they weren't there. They'd been stolen, hadn't they?
Thank you.
Mrs. Fern, the display window in your shop, is it close to the entrance door?
Yes.
And is there easy access to the display from inside the shop?
Yes.
There are no shutters or partitions dividing the window display from the shop itself?
No.
So, would it be easy for someone to reach into that display and to take something out if they wish to?
Yes, but not everyone's a thief.
Indeed not. Now, the battery alarm clock and the spot lamp, would they have been the most expensive items in the window display?
No.
So, what would have been the most expensive item on display?
Oh, I don't know. A television set, I suppose. Colour set, stereo deck, amplifier, tuner, things like that.
Yes, but would these items not be rather difficult for someone to remove without being observed?
I suppose they would, yes.
Well, were there no smaller expensive items on display?
Yes, there were some cassette radios on display.
Packed in boxes?
A couple of them were, the others were on show.
And would a cassette radio be more expensive than a battery alarm clock or a spot lamp?
Of course it would. One of those radios sells for £90-odd. The cheapest is 40.
And while you were busy, could someone take one of those radios without your noticing?
Yes, they could have reached over and got it.
Do you not have an alarm system in your window display?
Not during the day, no. Anyway, it's a small shop, a friendly shop. It's only these big stores that have to have everything wired up all day long with alarms. I have enough to cope with as it is, thank you.
Yes, I'm sure you do. Now, if you were to be standing where the accused was standing in your shop...
Yes?
What would have been the closest item to hand? A cassette radio?
No.
Although you say that one could have been taken without your noticing.
Yes.
Then the closest item to hand.
Any one of those, I suppose.
So, from where the accused was standing, the closest items to hand would be the battery alarm clock and the spot lamp. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Now, would you say that those items are worth stealing?
Of course.
Well, for someone perhaps who needed them for their usefulness as gadgets, yes. But as stolen property, for someone who wanted to steal them in order to sell them, would that be worthwhile?
Well, they're worth nearly £19.
Yes, to you as a shop owner, no doubt, but as stolen property, would they be worth £19 to an interested third party, if such a party could be found?
I'm sorry, but I don't really care. Those things were stolen from us. They belong to us. I don't know what other people do, and I don't care. We're not used to stealing. We've had small things taken. Children sometimes take small things for devilment, things you wouldn't really miss. But a thing like this, we're not used to it. So how should I know how much that little tyke would have got for them? Why should I have to know?
Mrs. Fern.
Me and my husband want to earn an honest living. That's all. Run a decent shop and earn an honest living. Nothing else.
Thank you, Mrs. Fern.
Mr. Tyson, how long have you been an officer at Pious Grange Camp?
About 3.5 years, sir.
Yes. Were you on duty on the 17th of January?
I was, yes.
And what kind of duties did you perform that day?
Well, apart from my usual duties around the camp, I was instructed to drive the minibus into Fulchester.
For what purpose?
Well, my instructions were to drive a discharge grade trainee into the town.
Yes, and what was the name of that trainee?
324 Stephen Fisk, him.
What time did you leave Pius Grange?
About 10:45 a.m. We got to the clock tower at 11 a.m.
Yes, and did you have any instructions to give to Stephen Fisk?
Yes. He was to behave himself, to look around the town, get himself used to civil life again. If in any trouble, he was to contact Pius Grange or the nearest police station. He was to be back at the clock tower sharp at 4 p.m.
To be taken back to Pius Grange?
Yes.
So from the time you left Pius Grange until the time you arrived at Fulchester Clock Tower, the accused was in your charge?
Yes.
Did he say anything to you during the journey?
No, not a lot. I don't like to chat too much while I'm driving.
Well, apart from the verbal instructions, was anything said between you during the drive?
Well, not exactly between us, no.
Well, what then?
Well, Fisk was sort of talking to things through the bus window.
Talking to things?
Yes, to landmarks, that sort of thing.
Yes, would you explain that?
Well, when we went through the camp gates, he said, it's been nice knowing you. And later, when we went past the Roman Catholic Church at Coombs Hill, he said, sorry, we won't be able to make it this Sunday, Father, or something like that.
Did you ask him what he meant by those words?
Yes, but he just grinned.
Do you happen to know the religious denomination of the accused?
Yes, I do. He's Roman Catholic.
Now, what was the mood of the accused during the journey? Was he sad, happy, what?
Well, he's in his usual mood.
What's his usual mood?
He's a bit flash. Sure of himself. He's a bit of a joker.
Now, even though he refused to explain the meanings of his cryptic remarks, did you not wonder about them at the time?
No.
Well, didn't you think he might have been referring to abscondence?
Well, it's obvious now that he was, but at the time I thought he was having a bit of a joke, as usual. I mean, well, it would have been stupid with his release due in 6 weeks. Still, we all know he is stupid, don't we?
Right, Mr. Tyson, enough of this.
I'm sorry, Your Honour.
Now, were you surprised, or not, to learn the accused was in possession of £15 when he was arrested in Fulchester?
I was surprised, sir. I mean, he should only have had part of his compulsory savings, and that wouldn't have amounted to more than £1.
Well, are the trainees not searched before being taken into town?
No, sir, only when they come back.
I see. And where does this searching take place?
In the reception office. Unless it's a special case, then we bust them on the spot.
And in the not-so-special cases, say a trainee returning from unsupervised liberty, is the search a thorough one?
No, sir, it's just average. You see, the ones that are determined to smuggle the stuff in, they're pretty shrewd. They usually succeed.
Your Honour, I can perceive no legitimate purpose in this line of questioning. The prosecution has already implied that my client intended to abscond from Powys Grange on that day, and now he seems to be on some other irrelevant tack.
Yes, Mr. Lloyd, I share your curiosity. Mr. Fettifer, do we really have to concern ourselves with such speculative questions about other trainees?
Well, Your Honour, I was merely trying to establish what the search procedures were. Mr. Tyson, I want your assistance over a practice which is known as baroning. Does this happen at Powys Grange?
Happens everywhere, sir.
Yes. And what does baroning mean?
Well, it's racketeering, sir, in anything that's hard to get inside.
I see. Now, what would you say is the main product for supply and demand in baroning?
Tobacco.
And is tobacco in short supply at a place like Powys Grange?
It's bound to be, isn't it, on a trainee's pay?
Yes. Therefore, would you say there was always a shortage? Always someone in need of a smoke?
Yes. And always a baron somewhere ready to make good the shortage.
And make a profit in the process?
Oh, yes.
Now, how much would you say a baron could make out of profiteering?
Well, that depends on how good he is, sir.
Could he make as much as, say, £15 over a set period?
Well, he'd have to be very good. He'd have to be safe, have it stashed. You see, even a baron with bought backup could take one hell of a kicking for that sort of money, you know.
Yes, but if he did accumulate that sort of sum of money, it would indicate, would it not, that he was, shall we say, a baron in a class of his own?
Yes, I'd agree with that.
Yes. Does the accused smoke?
Yes.
Would you say he suffered from a shortage of tobacco?
No, he always seemed to have a burn going. Never see him have to twos up on anyone.
Twos up?
Yeah, that's plead with someone to get the last drag or two out of their cigarette end.
Mr. Pettifer, what is the point of all this evidence?
Well, the Crown's case, Your Honour, is that The fact that the accused had this sort of sum of money on him when he was arrested in Fulchester indicates he was one of the more powerful members of Borstal society.
I see. Well, Mr. Tyson, was the accused involved in any of this?
Well, not that we could ever prove, Your Honour.
How do you mean?
Your Honour, I intend to substantiate information given to the principal officer by calling a witness.
Will the principal officer himself be called?
No, Your Honour, the person who provided the information.
Very well.
Now, having received information that the accused was baroning, what did you do?
We searched Fisk, sir.
At Paris Grange?
Yes, we searched him, his bed, his locker, and his kit.
Yes. Now, was the search successful?
No, but we still had our doubts. I mean, his gear was too clean.
Well, how do you mean?
Well, it looked as if he knew a bust was on its way.
As if he'd known he was about to be searched?
Yes.
Thank you.
How long have you known the accused?
Ever since he was a reception.
How long is that?
8, 9 months.
Now, in your experience, would you say that he was a good trainee or not?
Well, he always steered clear of obvious trouble. Went his own way, kept himself to himself.
Well, that sounds like natural survival to me, yet it doesn't answer the question. Would you say he was a good trainee or not?
Well, he earned his ticket, didn't he?
Look, I'm afraid that still doesn't answer the question.
Well, I'm afraid I don't know the answer. I mean, someone like a housemaster might. It's my job to keep them in line.
Oh, you're saying then, are you, that you don't know the difference between a good trainee and a bad one?
I'm saying that I'm not paid to know the difference.
Oh, I see. You're just paid to keep them in line, are you?
Yes.
Yes, paid to drive them into town when instructed and bring them back as instructed.
Yes.
Yes, paid to make them suffer the indignity of a search that has possibly been instigated by rumour.
Make them suffer? Most of them don't know what the word dignity means.
But they know what racketeering means.
Oh, yes.
And the giving of information, which they would call grassing.
Yes.
And do they also know what brutality means? Is there not a great deal of brutality amongst the inmates of an establishment like Powis Grange?
There's a fair amount, yes.
Yes, and a fair amount of terrorising, would you say, and a fair amount of threats and acts of intimidation?
Yes.
Well, are you not also paid to stop activities of that kind?
If I see it happening, yes.
If you see it happening.
Well, you don't hear about it happening by way of complaint. They see it's a code they have there. It's them and us. Now, if you get hurt by one of your own kind, you stay hurt. You never report it. That is their code.
And does this same code apply to threats and to acts of intimidation?
Yes.
Well, would it surprise you if I suggested that Stephen Fisk was being threatened? That he was living in fear for his own safety? Would it surprise you if I suggested that he intended taking something from a shop in Fulchester that day, any item from any shop, in order to be taken away from Powis Grange and given protection?
From what?
From his own kind. Would it surprise you to know that Stephen Fisk was prepared to risk sacrificing his forthcoming release rather than to return to Powis Grange on that day and be given a brutal beating at the hands of his own kind?
Well, he never said anything to me about it on the journey.
Why should he have done? If you get hurt, you stay hurt. Isn't that what you said? Is that not the code?
Tomorrow you can join us again when the case of the Queen against Fisk will be resumed in the Crown Court.
Olivari, sir.
Stephen Fisk, a Borstal trainee with only 6 weeks' training left until his release, stands charged with theft. The alleged theft took place while he was at unsupervised liberty in the town centre of Fulchester. A fellow trainee is about to give evidence for the prosecution.
I hope so, sir.
Yes. What grade have you reached?
Still training grade, sir. Vocational guidance, sir. Motor mechanics.
Yes. Do you have any special appointment at Pius Grange?
Yes, sir. Dormitory leader, sir. Vanguard 3 house.
Do you know the accused, Stephen Fisk?
Yes, sir.
Now, which house does he belong to?
Vanguard 3, sir.
The house of which you are dormitory leader.
Yes, sir.
So what are the responsibilities of dormitory leader?
Make sure the dormitories are tidy, sir.
Mr. Pettifer, is it necessary for the witness to shout at the top of his voice?
Right, no, Your Honour.
Perhaps if he were to relax a little, it might help.
Quite, Your Honour. If you wouldn't mind lowering the tone of your voice.
Sorry, sir.
Yes, and you only have to answer questions. You may relax.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, now, you were telling us about the responsibilities of a dormitory leader.
Yes, sir. And make sure they're tidy, like. People doing their jobs, cleaning, like, that sort of thing. Make sure they get up, make their beds, you know. And then there's roll call. Make sure they're ready for roll call, like.
Yes, so as dormitory leader, you would have to know quite well the people with whom you were billeted.
Yes, sir. You get to know them, how to handle them, and the receptions, like. If you get lumbered with receptions.
The receptions?
Yes, sir. New arrivals, sir. I mean, they're usually a load of dummies, sir, and they usually get a hard time to start with.
How do you mean a hard time?
Well, a kicking, sir. Get their gear in it, get rolled.
And when this happens, what do you do as dormitory leader?
Me, sir? Well, I just hope it's all over quick and nothing gets broken. Otherwise, I'm responsible for breakages and...
But do you not report these incidents?
Well, no, sir. If I did that, I'd be down for a kicking myself, wouldn't I?
Now, by what you've said, can we assume that a great deal of violence takes place at an establishment like Pius Grange?
It's bound to take place, sir, innit? I mean, it's only natural.
Yes. But do some trainees get through life there unscathed and unharmed?
Yes, sir, a few.
Yes. Which kind?
The daddies, the ones that can look after themselves.
Would you say the accused was a daddy?
What is a daddy?
Well, Your Honour, in Borstal and prison slang, a daddy is someone who is both mentally and physically capable of terrorising others.
And I don't find the word helpful. Rephrase the question, Mr. Pettifer.
Your Honour. Well then, would you say that Stephen Fisk was capable of handling himself?
Oh, yes, sir. Yeah. He wouldn't stand no nonsense.
Yes. Now, when was the last time you saw the accused at Pius Grange?
Just over 3 months ago, sir.
Do you remember the occasion?
Yes, sir.
Will you tell us about it?
Don't grass up on no one, sir.
No, just tell us.
I mean, I don't like the man, but whatever the man did, I don't grass up on him.
Will you kindly remember that you're under oath?
I don't care what you call it, sir. I mean, I've got nothing to lose, but I don't grass up on no one.
Mr. Pettifer?
Well, it's all right, Your Honour. I think I can phrase the question in a way which will not breach the witness's own code of conduct.
I hope so.
Now, the occasion that you remember when you last saw the accused at Pius Grange.
I just sort of chatted to him, sir, that's all.
Yes, so where at Pius Grange did this chat take place? Now, if you are to tell us truthfully about a conversation that took place between the accused and yourself, is that conversation likely to incriminate him in the eyes of the Borstal authorities?
It might do, sir, yeah.
Yes, but not here.
Well, no, sir. I mean, in here and up there is different, isn't it? I mean, this is the outside.
Then you should be able to tell us truthfully, shouldn't you, what took place during the conversation between the accused and yourself?
All right then, sir. I'll talk truthfully, providing I can leave bits out here and there.
Well, all right. Let's try that, shall we? Where did the conversation take place?
Vanguard 3 dormitory, sir.
Yes, will you tell us what happened?
Well, I'd gone in the dormitory to make sure no one was skiving, you know, dossing about. Make sure it was all tidy like, see? Well, I get another 8p a week for that job. Anyway, it was all right, no bad news. There were 2 people in the dormitory, but they were supposed to be in there anyway. One was the boiler boy. He was fast asleep in his bunk because he'd been working nights, see? And the other one was Fisk.
Yes. What was he doing?
He was getting into his civvies, sir, town visit.
Did he say anything to you?
Well, yeah, we rabbited on a bit about this and that.
For instance?
Well, you know, just chat, like who'd been put on report lately, who'd lost a moon, who was sweating on his ticket, just chat, this and that.
Now then what? Did anything else happen apart from this chat?
Yeah, he'd give me something.
Who gave you something? The accused?
Yeah, he'd give me some gear.
What kind of gear?
Well, he was turning out his locker, it was just gear, that's all.
Yes, what kind of gear?
Spare burnt tin, toothpaste, some dirty pictures, personal soap.
So why did he give them to you?
Dunno, sir.
For safekeeping?
Safekeeping?
And what's funny?
Well, safekeeping don't mean nothing, sir, not up there.
Pius Grange?
Yeah.
So why did he give them to you?
Dunno, sir.
As a present?
Dunno, sir.
Now, things like tobacco tins, toothpaste, personal soap, wouldn't they be regarded as valuables in a place like Pius Grange?
Yes, sir. Well, I've seen blokes get their teeth kicked in for a bar of personal soap.
Yes, but what about outside?
Outside, sir?
In Seventies Street. is a bar of personal soap as valuable there?
No, of course not.
So values in an institution like Paris Grange are vastly different to those of the outside world.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Therefore, before setting off for his town visit, the accused gave you all his institutional worldly goods. Goods that were of great value to him there, but nowhere else. Now, is that correct? I said, is that correct?
Dunno, sir.
Now, did the accused tell you, when he made you a present of these items, whether or not he intended returning to Paris Grange?
Dunno, sir.
Would you remember you are under oath?
Yeah, and remember I told you I'd leave bits out here and there, sir.
Is the answer to my question a piece that you would choose to leave out?
Yes, sir. I don't grass up on no one, sir.
Well, perhaps you haven't left bits out after all. No further questions, thank you.
I'm afraid, Mr. Pettifer, that simply isn't good enough. Olivari, you'll answer the questions I'm to put to you, or you'll be punished. Do you understand? Are you saying that the accused did tell you that he wasn't coming back?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Very well.
John Olivari.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you seem to take your position as a dormitory leader quite seriously.
I do, sir. It means responsibility. And apart from that, I'll get another 8p a week.
Yes, and is it part of your responsibility to make sure that no trainees from other dormitories are allowed to enter your dormitory without invitation or without good reason?
Yes, sir.
Good. Now, on the 17th of January, on the morning that Stephen Fisk was preparing for his town visit, you say that the dormitory was empty of people apart from Fisk and yourself.
And the boiler boy, sir.
Oh, yes. The boiler boy, who was fast asleep.
Yeah, he'd been working nights, see.
Yes, so according to you, there were just 3 people present in the dormitory on that morning.
Yes, sir.
I suggest that you are telling lies.
Lies, sir?
Yes. To this court, you are lying in order to protect yourself.
To know what you mean, sir.
But what about the other 6 persons?
What other 6, sir?
The committee that was present in your dormitory on that morning.
Still don't know what you mean, sir.
I mean 6 other trainees from other dormitories, barons and their hired helpers. Was there not such a committee in your dormitory on that morning?
No, sir.
And I mean that the accused was threatened by this committee, that he was ordered to purchase tobacco in the town and to smuggle it back into Powys Grange.
No, sir.
Well, can you tell me how the barons usually acquire their supplies? We must know the answer to that, surely.
No, sir.
Not as dormitory leader, with responsibilities, with months of service. Are you trying to tell us, the court, that you have spent nearly 6 months training with your eyes and your ears closed?
Yeah, well, all right, I mean, fair enough. Baroning does go on, but I don't have nothing to do with it.
I'm sure you don't. So, how do the barons get their supplies? And we are talking here in a general sense, are we not? I'm sure you can't be accused of grassing up on anyone if we talk in a general sense.
No, sir. Not if it's in a general sense.
So, how do the barons get their supplies?
Well, from visits sometimes, but that's a bit dodgy.
Yes, visits to the institution by relatives.
Yes, sir. And then there's the Swedes. The Swedes will sometimes get stuff in.
Swedes?
Yes, sir. Farm workers, sir. Hillbillies, what are doing the farm training course, sir. They work outside sometimes.
Is any other sources of supply?
Expect there's a few more, sir, yeah.
Yes, what about discharge grade trainees on unsupervised visits to the town?
What about them, sir?
Well, wouldn't you say that they would make ideal couriers for the tobacco barons? Well?
Expect so, sir, yeah.
You expect so. Now, on the morning of the 17th of January, you were given, were you not, the personal property of the accused, not by the accused, but by others as part of a threat by others to the accused?
No, sir. He gave me them things himself.
Did you not, on the morning of January the 17th, see an amount of paper money, namely £1 notes, change hands in the dormitory?
No, sir.
Are you saying that you did not see this committee of 6 hand the accused a bundle of £1 notes that morning, force him to take that money with instructions and under threat?
No, sir. I didn't see nothing. I didn't see no committee, nothing.
Do you wish to re-examine Mr. Pettifer?
No, Your Honour.
Very well, you may step down.
Sir!
your religion?
Church of Scotland, sir.
You hold the book in your right hand and repeat the words on the card.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Thank you. Your Honour, I should like to ask that apart from this witness and the accused, trainees and members of the staff from Paris Grange leave this courtroom.
What's your reason, Mr. Pettifer?
Well, Your Honour, I think we have already heard or sensed enough about the fears of possible reprisals at that establishment.
Mr. Lloyd?
Yes, agreed, Your Honour.
Very well. Will you ask those witnesses and others to leave the courtroom, please?
Your name is Donald Pearson?
Yes, sir.
Yes, you are a trainee at Paris Grange, is that right?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been there?
About 6 months, sir.
Yes, do you have an occupational job at Paris Grange?
Yes, sir. Helping the maintenance staff, sir.
At which house do you belong to?
Vanguard 3, sir.
Now, about 3 months ago, did you make a complaint to one of the principal officers at Paris Grange? Well, did you?
Well, it was a sort of complaint, sir, yeah.
Yes. What was the nature of that complaint?
Have to answer that, do I, sir?
Well, yes, you've already made a written complaint about the, written statement about the complaint.
Yeah, well, it's just...
Well, what?
Well, I mean, like, some people, well, they have a different saying for making a complaint, like...
Like giving information?
Yeah, well, they call it grassing.
Yes, well, let's just consider it as a complaint in this court, shall we?
Well, it's not this court I'm worried about, sir. I mean, they've got courts of their own. Put you on trial. And the only difference is that in their courts, nobody gets let off. Every poor bastard's guilty.
To what kind of court are you referring?
Well, one's the lads set up, sir. A copy you lot.
Your Honour, I think this witness is still concerned about possible reprisals he may suffer due to evidence he may give. Perhaps there is some way the court could promise a transfer.
That wouldn't save you, son. Word gets round.
Now, that's enough. You will speak only when you're called upon to do so. Do you understand?
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir.
Mr. Pettifer, the court cannot promise a transfer.
No, Your Honour, I suppose not. Will you please tell us about the complaint you made to the principal officer at Paris Grange?
I was in debt. I owed some baron.
Yes. How much did you owe?
About 3 or 4 quid's worth of burn. I mean, like, I smoke a lot, you know, so I mean, I have to borrow it. When you have to pay back 100% interest, well, you never get out of debt, do you? I mean, nobody does. Everybody ends up owing.
So, when you realised you were in debt, more or less up to your eyes, what did you try to do to put things right?
Well, I knew it was no good doing a runner, like, so I told Mr. Goodison, one of the principal officers.
Yes. What did he do?
Well, he had the screws turn the baron over, sir, and his gear and his locker.
Yes, but the search was not successful.
Oh, no, sir. Well, I mean, the man's a clever mover, sir. I mean, he's got everything sussed in advance. That's his speed.
Yes. Now, after having received this information, would the principal officer have broadcast your name?
Oh, no, sir. I mean, that's not how it's done.
No. But I take it you gave the principal officer a name?
Yes, sir.
Yes. The name of the baron to whom you were in debt?
Yes, sir.
Will you tell the court that name?
Stephen Fisk, sir.
You are saying, are you, the accused was racketeering during his time at Paris Grange, and you were in debt to him?
Yes, sir.
Were you alone in being his debtor, or were there others like you?
Well, no, sir, there was a lot of us.
Thank you.
How much tobacco are you earning for this appearance in court today?
Sir?
How much are you being paid to tell lies?
I'm not telling lies, sir.
No? Now, you say that your occupational job at Paris Grange is with the maintenance staff.
Yes, sir.
Do you have another job there?
No, sir.
Not an unofficial job?
I don't know what you mean, sir.
All right, then. Do you know of a syndicate of barons that operates at Paris Grange, a syndicate known as the Committee?
Might have heard of them, sir.
Oh, come on now. There are only about 300 trainees at Paris Grange. You've been there for approximately 6 months. Are you seriously trying to tell the court that you just might have heard about such a syndicate of profiteers?
Yeah, all right, I know they exist, but don't ask me to give any names.
I thought you specialised in giving names. Or do you only give false information?
Sir?
Now, are you employed unofficially by this so-called committee?
No, sir.
Well, I suggest that you are employed by them and that you work for them as a messenger in exchange for a few favours.
Not me, sir.
Yes, you. Now, do you recall a fight that took place at Powys Grange around 3.5 months ago?
A lot of fights happening there, sir.
Yes, well, I'll give you the exact location of this one and the names of the 2 participants, then perhaps you'll remember. The fight took place in the dining hall. It was between Stephen Fisk and another trainee named French. Do you recall that fight?
Yes, sir.
Who won the fight?
Fisk did, sir.
Yes, since when French got into more trouble and was eventually transferred to a closed institution. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, wasn't French also used by the committee as a hired thug?
Well, he might have done some collecting for him, sir, yeah.
Collecting?
But I never had anything to do with that lot, sir.
Well, I'm suggesting you did. And I'm also suggesting that a week after this collector was given a hiding, you were bribed to give false information regarding the accused to the principal officer.
No, sir, I did it for myself.
And this so-called search, do you not think if there was anything there to be found, a team of experienced officers would have found it? If not on that day, then upon another.
As I said, sir, the man's a clever mover. I wouldn't go slagging him for nothing.
I would imagine there are very few things you do for nothing. Now, I'd like to ask you about the 17th of January.
Yes, sir.
Yes, that's the morning that the accused was in Vanguard 3 Dormitory preparing to go on his unsupervised visit to the town.
I don't know anything about it.
Please, allow me to finish. Now, this job of yours, this official job with the maintenance staff, does it include supervision of the hot water system, of the night boilers?
I was asleep, sir.
Asleep?
Yes, sir.
What are you talking about? When were you asleep?
When... Well, the morning that Fisk was leaving, sir.
You were fast asleep?
Yes, sir.
On your bunk in Vanguard 3 Dormitory?
Yes, sir.
So you wouldn't remember the 6 members of the committee entering that dormitory?
No, sir.
No, you wouldn't remember them threatening the accused?
No, sir.
You wouldn't remember seeing paper money change hands?
No, sir.
You only remember that you were fast asleep. Is that it?
Yes, sir, that's right, yeah.
Thank you. No further questions.
Do you wish to re-examine?
No, Your Honour. That is the case for the prosecution.
I call the accused, Stephen Fisk.
Don't tell me they gave you a lie.
Just shut up, will you?
Sir.
Sit down there.
How much notice did you give of your wish to go on an unsupervised visit to the town centre?
About 3 days, sir.
Now, during those 3 days, did you tell many people about the proposed visit?
No, sir.
But would that proposed visit have become common knowledge within 3 days?
A place like Powys Grange, whatever you do, whatever you say, whatever you think, becomes common knowledge in about 3 hours.
Yes, I see. Now, did you draw money from your compulsory savings for this visit?
Yes, sir.
How much of your savings did you take with you?
84 pence.
Now, before you left Powys Grange, had you already made up your mind what you were going to do when you arrived in Fulchester, or were you going to wait and see what happened?
I'd already made my mind up, sir.
Yes, to do what?
Go to some shop or some store, lift something, then take it to the nearest nick.
Now, why would you want to do that?
To get protection. To make sure I didn't have to go back to Powys Grange.
Even though your release was imminent?
Made no difference. I wasn't going back. Not to that place.
Why not?
If I'd gone back, it wouldn't have meant a kicking, sir. A right kicking. So I went to this hick shop. Lady wasn't looking, so I picked up some junk in boxes and walked it round to the nearest nick.
Did you know exactly what you'd taken?
Didn't really look. Some sort of a clock, I think, and a light. Yeah, some sort of ceiling light.
Yes, you hadn't intended at first, say, to steal those items and take them back to Powys Grange with you.
I'd look choice, wouldn't I, sir? With a clock and a ceiling light above me bunk in that place. Well, it wouldn't have lasted 5 minutes. You can get half killed for that junk. Well, depending on who got there first, the lads or the screws. And even then you get yourself mangled up in the rush.
Yes, I see. Now then, approximately 3.5 months ago, you were subjected to a search at Powys Grange, were you not?
Yes, sir.
Would you tell us about it?
Yes, sir. Well, a few days before the search, about a week or something, I had some bother in the dining hall with this muscle freak. Well, he had a habit of jumping the queue and then stronging it with anyone who complained.
What was his name?
Kenny French. I'm giving you that one because you already know it.
It's all right. Carry on.
Well, anyway, this Stone Age prat tries to jump the queue in front of me, but I wasn't standing for it. Well, he rapped on a bit, rolled up his sleeves, did the body beautiful bit. So I thumped him, put him down.
Then what?
Carried on having me dinner, didn't I? Yeah, anyway, I was a bit concerned, a bit on me guard. Well, this dummy friend, she was part of a team, see, and that team didn't rate me. So I kept a watch out for a few days. Well, one morning, about a week later, I found this burn stashed in my locker.
That's tobacco?
Yes, sir. About an ounce. Well, I sussed it as a plant up. It wasn't planted on me too well. So I took this burn and I flushed it down the bog. Well, it seemed a shame, but I wasn't having nothing planted up on me. Anyway, a few hours later, the screws come busting in on me like they'd seen too many films. They threw me around a bit, turned me and my gear over. Naturally, they didn't find nothing.
Were you not put on a report?
No, sir.
And was there anything more said about the reason for the search?
No, sir. Grassing is grassing, a bust is a bust. Kind of died to death with the screws, they forgot it. But the others didn't forget it. And after that, well, things got a bit dodgy for a while.
How do you mean, dodgy?
Well, I'd always kept myself to myself in that place, right? Handled myself, but kept to myself. I wanted no mates, no slagging, nothing. From the time I was a reception, all I wanted to do was keep my head down, graft, keep out of trouble, earn me ticket. Yeah, a lot of them, they don't like you if you do things on your Todd. Think for yourself. They want to own you. Only I don't get owned by anybody. Anyway, as I said, things started to look a bit dodgy. Well, this team started merging up with another team. They started buying some weird backup, headers and psycho cases. I could feel things was on the move. They was all watching me. It was down to more than just a straight kicking for me. And it was due to happen any time. So, I made an application for a day on unsupervised liberty. I was entitled to do that, being on discharge grade.
Yes, I see. So will you tell us what happened on the morning that you were preparing to go on this unsupervised town trip?
Yes, sir. Well, I've been up to the stores to get me civvies and at the office to get a sub from me savings. Well, I was in the dormitory, just got myself changed, and this lot come greasing in.
This lot?
Part of the team.
How many were there?
6, sir. Well, they was just the front runners, the frighteners. They could have got another dozen or so to back them up. Oh, I don't mind having a go at one, sir, but not a team. Not a team like that.
Was anyone else in the dormitory?
Yes, sir. The dormitory leader and the boiler boy.
Wasn't the boiler boy asleep?
If you can call sitting up in your bunk with your eyes wide open asleep, then he was asleep.
Yes, I see. Go on.
Well, to get things going, they started pulling things out of my locker and handing them round like it was Christmas.
What sort of things?
Personal stuff, sir. Me kit.
And who did they give it to?
The dormitory leader, sir.
Then what?
Then they said I was to do a job for them.
Yes, what kind of a job?
They wanted me to buy tobacco in the town and smuggle it back in.
Did you agree to this or not?
Well, I had to agree, didn't I? I had no option, sir.
And how were you supposed to pay for this tobacco? With your own 84 pence?
No, sir. They give me some money.
How much money?
15 greens, sir.
You mean 15 £1 notes?
Yes, sir.
Now, this amalgamation of teams that you've mentioned, were they known as the committee?
Yes, sir.
Are you prepared to tell us their names?
No, sir. I don't give no names. Only the ones you already know.
Even though this so-called committee has threatened you, blackmailed you, forced you to possibly put your well-earned discharge in jeopardy, you are still not prepared to name the committee members?
No, sir.
Join us again tomorrow when the case of the Queen against Fisk will be concluded in the Crown Court. Stephen Fisk, who is serving a term of Borstal training and has reached discharge grade, stands charged with theft. The theft is alleged to have taken place while Fisk was at unsupervised liberty in Fulchester town centre. He's now giving evidence in his own defence.
Now, when you'd taken the 2 boxes containing an alarm clock and a spotlight from Fern's Electrics, where did you go?
Straight to the nearest nick, sir.
Did you not stop on the way to open the boxes?
No, sir.
Were you not interested in the contents of the boxes?
No, sir. I just picked up the first things I could lay my hands on. I wasn't really worried what they was.
Now, will you tell us what happened inside the police station?
Yes, sir. Well, I handed the boxes to the sergeant that was there.
Did you say anything to him?
Yes, sir. I told him I'd taken them, where I'd taken them from, and that I was handing them in. He then asked me who I was and where I was from, so I told him.
Then what happened?
He called his oppo, then him, the sergeant. He went off somewhere, probably to ring up, check it out.
Yes, then later, after being cautioned, you made a statement admitting the theft, did you not?
Yes, sir.
Now, had you, at any time during the taking of those goods and handing them into the police station, considered keeping the goods for your own personal pleasure?
I've already told you, sir, no.
Had you, at any time, considered selling the goods for personal gain?
No, sir. I just looked at those goods as a sort of passport, as a way of making sure I didn't have to go back to Paris Grange.
Had you thought of any other alternatives?
Like what, sir?
Well, say like absconding.
Legging it? No, sir. That would have been stupid.
Well, what did you think the police might be able to do for you?
I don't know. Something. Anything. Well, I thought they might have talked to some member of staff at Paris Grange. Someone with a bit of sense, a bit of understanding.
Yes, but would not that be rather difficult if you were not prepared, as you are still not prepared, to give the names of the people who'd been threatening you?
Well, yes, sir, but someone with a bit of sense, with a bit of understanding, would know why I won't give you no names.
Fortunately, someone did understand, did they not?
Yes, sir.
Would you tell us who that was?
The housemaster, sir, Vanguard House.
That's your housemaster?
Yes, sir. He's all right. He's a bit of a mug, bit of a do-gooder. But at least he's straight. Yeah, he's all right.
Yes. Now, did you take a construction industry course as part of your training?
Yes, sir.
Which trade did you learn?
Bricklaying, sir.
And did you complete the course?
Yes, sir.
And were there tests at the end of the course?
Yes, sir.
What were the results of your tests?
I passed, sir. Theory and practical. Passed them both.
So how would that have affected your future?
It was all arranged, sir, between the housemaster and the aftercare service. As soon as I got my discharge, I was fixed up with a part-time City and Guilds course and the promise of a full-time job.
With a firm of builders?
Yes, sir.
Yes, so all in all, you had a great deal to lose by taking those items from the shop.
Yes, sir. It was a sort of a toss-up. Well, I reckon it was all down to me future or me health. And you can always have a second go at your future.
Yes, indeed. Now, do you have any objection to telling the jury why you were sentenced to Borstal training?
No, sir.
Would you tell us then, please?
I don't mind. It was for breaking and entering, 6 counts.
Had there been other offences, or was that your first?
It was my first offence, sir.
Have you any idea what made you commit those original offences?
Yes, sir. Didn't have a trade, didn't have a steady job, so I went on the thief.
But now you do have a trade, do you not?
Yes, sir.
Yes. And the promise of a steady job?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Having decided to test the jury's sympathy by telling them why you were sent to Borstal in the first place, would you care to test them again by telling them another fact?
What fact, sir?
That you were, up until the 17th of January last, a successful and powerful racketeer at Paris Grange.
Well, I'm not likely to tell them that, am I?
Why not?
Because it's not true.
Well, I suggest it is. I also suggest you were not just an ordinary baron, you were the baron, the top baron, what one might call the daddy of Paris Grange.
Not me.
And in that role, you conducted a reign of terror in that establishment. Would you not agree?
I can't agree with something that's not true, sir.
Well, let's underline the truth a little for you, shall we? We have already been told by a witness and by you yourself that you were quite capable of handling yourself, quite capable of dealing out punishment.
I never said that.
Well, did you not tell this court? In your own words, you thumped somebody, put him down, somebody who's been described as physically very strong.
He asked for it.
He asked for it. Another witness, Donald Pearson, has told us that you were a baron and he was in debt to you. How do you account for that?
He's lying, sir.
Why should he lie?
Because he's on a payroll.
Whose payroll?
The committee's.
Oh, yes, this infamous committee. Now, is this the one that is supposed to have threatened you on the morning of the 17th of January in Vanguard 3 Dormitory?
Yes, sir.
Yes, but we only have your word for that. 2 witnesses have already testified there was no such committee present in that particular dormitory on that particular morning. Are they on the payroll also?
Yes.
And would you say Mr. Tyson, a Borstal officer, is also on the same payroll? Because he's testified he's rarely seen you go short of tobacco.
Mr. Tyson is a working screw, sir. He don't look hard enough. He don't get close enough to people to look.
Look at what?
To look at the way a trainee thinks. How he has to live his life under those sort of conditions. Working screws. They never look. They don't want to know. How can he be any sort of authority in how much I smoke and how much I don't smoke?
Tell me something. This code that is often referred to.
Yes, sir.
Yes, don't you think it's worked rather well for people like you?
Don't know what you mean, sir.
I mean this code of silence, this code of them and us, this code of never naming names. But then again, perhaps that's why the code was invented in the first place, for and by people like you. Would you not agree?
Don't know what you mean by people like me, sir.
I mean racketeers, profiteers, terrorisers.
You're saying that, sir, not me.
Yes, I'm saying that. I'm also saying that the search that was carried out against you at Powys Grange was justified.
No, sir.
Whether it was successful or not. And Donald Pearson was absolutely right to report you. Now, whether going by your code, that makes him foolish or brave, doesn't matter. He was one of your victims, was he not?
No, sir.
And is it not true? Quite a large and formidable number of trainees decided to get together at Powys Grange and form an alliance.
What for, sir?
To get rid of you. Because they were tired of being your victims. Tired of being in your debt. Tired of being terrorised by you. Now, is that not the real reason you decided to ask for a day of unsupervised liberty?
No, sir.
The reason you gave your last few possessions away? The reason you, yourself, were frightened at last? The reason you tried to gain sympathy and protection from Fulchester police? Now, is it not this group of trainees who decided to rebel against you and not some imaginary committee that sent you running from a kicking you so well-deserved?
No, sir.
Well, let's talk about the £15, shall we? Now, they were given to you by other barons to purchase tobacco for them. That is what you say?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Well, when you went to the police station in Fulchester to kindly hand over the goods you'd stolen, why didn't you also hand over the £15?
I decided to keep it.
You decided to keep it?
Yes, sir. It was bent money. Their money. Well, they threatened me. They forced me to do what I did. Why should they have it back?
Who are they?
The committee.
Oh, yes, the committee. Now, where did the police find this money when they searched you?
Well...
It wasn't in any of your pockets, was it?
No, sir.
Well, were you holding it in your hand?
No, sir.
So where did they find it?
I'd split it up. I had half in each shoe.
You were saying, are you, it was hidden in your shoes?
Yes. I wanted to hang on to it. It wasn't stolen money. It was bent money. It belonged to them.
I suggest the money only belonged to one person, you. Would you agree with that?
No, sir.
It was money you'd made from racketeering or baroning. Your money. Now, isn't that a better reason, a more truthful explanation for hiding it in your shoes?
No, sir, because it wasn't my money. It was theirs.
Earlier, when Donald Pearson was giving his evidence, you shouted something across this courtroom. You called out, "It won't help you, son. Word gets around." What did you mean by that remark?
I meant what I said. It doesn't matter whether your information is bent or whether it's straight. Word gets round. A grass is a grass.
Look, isn't the truth of all this, Fisk, that you decided to abscond? You took your £15 with you for funds. You stole those 2 items to raise a little extra cash. Then you had second thoughts, remembering you only had 6 weeks to your release date.
No, sir.
Well, I have one last question to put to you, Stephen Fisk. What kind of favour were you hoping for?
From who, sir?
Well, from the Fulchester police. From the staff at Powys Grange who were supposed to understand you. When you walked into Fern's Electrics and stole property from a hard-working couple. Now, if I remember rightly, you described that as lifting junk from some hick shop. Now, were you hoping this would gain you some sort of transfer to an alternative institution, there to serve the last 6 weeks of your training? Well, will you answer my question? What sort of favour were you hoping for when you deliberately committed this dishonest act?
I didn't want no favours, sir. I just wanted a fair deal.
A fair deal? I have no further questions.
With 5 hours of unsupervised liberty and with £15 at your disposal, could you not have made an easy and possibly successful escape bid had you wished to?
I could have done, sir, yes. It was up for grabs. But all I wanted was a chance to finish my training somewhere safe.
Yes, and do you think that had you returned to Powys Grange on that day, you might, apart from the beating that had been promised you, suffered something equally distressing?
Yes, sir.
Will you explain that?
Well, see, sir, it could have gone 2 ways. If I'd gone back with the burn, it could have been a fit-up.
A fit-up?
Yes, sir, the screws could have been waiting.
What, acting upon information, you mean?
Yes, sir. And if I'd gone back without it, it would have meant a kicking. Only I wouldn't have made it easy for him. I stood no chance, but I would have had a go.
You mean you'd have fought back?
Oh, yes, sir. I would have dropped as many as I could before they dropped me.
And what do you think the result of that might have been?
Every punch-up has to be a report job.
You mean you could have been put on a report?
I would have been.
And what kind of punishment might you expect for that?
Discharge grade, sir. I'd have lost me ticket.
You mean you'd have been downgraded?
Yes, sir.
And would you have had to start to earn your discharge grade all over again?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Parrish, which field do you specialise in?
Bricklaying, sir.
And how long have you been an instructor?
Oh, something like 15 years now, near enough. I taught in prisons for 11 years, and then I decided I needed a fresh air, a bit more space.
Yes, so you applied for transfer to Borstal institutions, did you?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been an instructor at Powys Grange?
For 4 years.
4 years, so it's your one and only Borstal appointment?
Yes, but I like it there. It's an open camp.
Now, are Borstal trainees easier to teach than other prisoners or not?
Oh, I suppose in a way they're a bit more difficult. They're younger, a bit wild, but it means you're teaching them from scratch. It gives you something to work on.
Yes. Now, did the accused take the construction industry course in bricklaying?
Yes, sir.
And were you his instructor?
Yes.
How did he take to the course?
Well, he wasn't too keen at first. Then no one is at first. It's a cold trade to learn, and a mucky one, until you get to know the materials, that is, until you get to know the job, to appreciate the job, to take an interest in it.
Do some trainees not take an interest?
Oh, yes, some never learn. From the day they start the course to the day they finish it, they're swimming in wet mortar, and their practical work looks like a demolition job.
Yes, did the accused come into this category?
Oh, no, sir, he worked hard. He mastered the craft, passed his tests. He's a good mathematician, too, and that's important. And he's up for city and guilds. Oh, no, he could do well in the trade.
Now, did he ever give you any trouble?
Trouble?
Yes, did you ever have cause to make reports out against him?
No.
So, was he of good behaviour the whole time that he was under your instruction?
Oh, yes, he behaved himself. I mean, like the others, he did his fair share of skylarking. Well, they all do that. It's high spirits. A few of them give you a rough ride, but if you treat them right, they'll soon knuckle down and get on with their work.
Yes, I see. Now, would you say that learning a trade and mastering it is beneficial to a delinquent who's serving a sentence, or would you say that it was a waste of government time?
Well, I'd say it's never a waste of time. It's bound to be a benefit. I mean, if you learn a trade, you can earn a living, and that must help to keep you out of trouble.
Yes. Now, in your opinion, Mr. Parrish, would you say that the accused's chances of earning a living as a tradesman in the outside world were good, fair, or would you say he had no chance at all?
Well, I'd say going on his work and his tests, his chances were good, very good.
And do you think that the accused would be aware of that as he was approaching the end of his sentence?
Oh, yes, I told him he'd have no difficulty holding down a job.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Parrish.
Mr. Parrish, if the information is of any use to you, and I'm sure it is, the current figures are 60-40 in favour of Borstal failure.
Well, you can't win them all, sir.
No, you can't win them all. Now, I would say you are an optimist. You have the air of an optimist. Would you agree?
Well, I prefer to look on the bright side. Who doesn't?
Yes. Would you mind telling the court your age?
Oh, sir, I'm 55, nearly 56.
And you say you prefer working in an open institution because it offers you fresh air and space?
Yes, sir.
Now, I take it being an instructor at a place like Powys Grange, deep in the countryside, means you have government accommodation.
Oh, some VGIs live outside the camp.
Yes, but you have accommodation inside it, do you?
Yes, sir.
Yes. For whom?
Well, for myself, my wife, and my youngest daughter. She works as a nurse at Fulchester General, but she lives with us.
Yes, and I would think that life for you at Powys Grange is very pleasant. Would you agree?
Well, the domestic side of it, sir, yes.
Oh, yes, I mean, accommodation in the countryside. Not too much travelling to do. At the age of 56, would you not say this is almost a relaxed, near-to-retirement job?
No, sir, I work hard. I'm not going out of my way to settle for a cushy number.
Well, I'm sure you haven't. I mean, I would be the last to suggest it. Now, do you recall an incident that happened some 3 months ago during your current instruction course? I believe it happened on some building extension job. Would it have been the gymnasium?
Yes, sir, there was some extension work being done in the gymnasium. The trainees that had completed their theoretical studies were doing the practical work on that job.
Yes. Was there not a so-called accident on that job? Was a trainee not thrown from the top of a 20-feet high scaffolding extension?
Well, sir, it was said that he fell.
Well, all right, then he fell. Do you know how or why it happened?
Well, no, sir, I wasn't there at the time. I was in the training compound. But I believe the accident was due to a bit of skylarking.
A bit of skylarking. Mr. Parrish, a trainee named Tanner received a broken leg and several broken ribs as a result of that skylarking.
Yes, sir, a boy called Tanner was injured.
Yes. How many trainees were involved in this incident?
There were only 2 working up on that level.
Yes. One was Tanner.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Who was the other one?
It was Fisk, sir.
Fisk. Yes, thank you.
You are the housemaster of Vanguard House at Powys Grange, is that correct?
It is, yes.
Now tell me, Mr. Scott, do you recall an incident that happened while extension work was being carried out at the gymnasium at Powys Grange?
Incident?
Yes, a trainee named Tanner was injured, I believe.
Oh, that incident. Oh, no, I don't recall it because I wasn't there.
You mean you were not at Powys Grange?
No, I mean that I was nowhere near the gymnasium at the time.
Yes, but you do know of the incident?
Oh, yes.
Yes, when you said, oh, that incident, you made it sound as though there were many such incidents at Powys Grange.
Well, there are. And there always will be. After all, it's a borstal, not a kindergarten.
Quite. Now, was anyone put on a report because of that incident?
No.
No. Now, how well do you know the accused, Stephen Fisk?
There are about 160 trainees in Vanguard House. I know Fisk as well as I know the other 159. Or, let's say, I would like to know him as much as I would like to know the others.
Are you saying that they're difficult to get to know?
Difficult to reach would be a better way of putting it.
Does this mean you're out of touch with your trainees?
Oh, far from it. It's simply a question of taking up a different vantage point and making one's judgments and character assessments from there. I mean, if one was to shake a youth by the hand and say that he was doing well, he'd probably get beaten up by his fellow inmates for fraternizing. It's a different kind of world at that place. Therefore, one needs a different kind of approach.
Do you like your job?
Very much.
Now, are you also a member of the Discharge Grade Board?
Yes.
And were you on the board the day that the accused was given his discharge grade?
I was, yes.
Did you personally recommend him for discharge or not?
I recommended that he should be given discharge grade.
Who else was on the board?
The Deputy Governor, the Housemaster of Mercury House, and one of the principal officers.
Yes, and was anyone on that board not in favour of Fisk's discharge grade being awarded?
No, it was discussed seriously and thoroughly, as are all the cases named by the board. We all agreed that Fisk should be released.
Yes. What were your reasons?
Oh, the obvious ones. He was fit for release. He'd worked hard. He'd learned a trade. He'd done well in his educational work. His home background was good and sound. He wasn't depressed. He wasn't insecure. In other words, he seemed to have got himself together. Oh, I'd also like to add that since receiving his discharge grade, he'd done well at governor's classes. Oh, that's a course that prepares trainees for the outside world.
Yes, I see. Now, how did you feel when you heard that Fisk had been arrested by the Fulchester police?
I was very surprised. And I was saddened.
Thank you.
Mr. Scott, from this very enterprising vantage point of yours, did you ever suspect Stephen Fisk was both a racketeer and an oppressor?
Let me put it like this, if I may. Each youth in a borstal institution has the potential to be a baron, to be a thief, to be a liar. The very environment encourages that potential. If you like, it's a concomitant test. Therefore, in Fisk's case, well, let's say I was always given a reason not to suspect him.
Oh, I see. Well, perhaps some of us prefer the old-fashioned conventional way of looking at facts.
Providing they're facts.
Indeed. Is it not a fact you were wrong to recommend the accused for discharge grade?
Well, that's not a fact, that's a theory.
No, I'm sorry. The accused is here in this courtroom charged with theft. The accused has breached all the rules concerning unsupervised liberty. Those are the facts, Mr. Scott, are they not?
I suppose so, yes.
Yes. Furthermore, I suggest that perhaps your experimental but relaxed outlook may have led you to disregard another possible fact.
Like what?
Like the gymnasium incident. Like the possibility of it not being an accident, but a designed attack by one trainee upon another. Now, after all, did you not imply to my learned friend that it was just one incident among many? Or is violence also part of the concomitant test?
If we were to count up the number of incidents and set them against the number of witnesses who had suddenly decided to lose their memories or become invisible, then the staff of an establishment like Powys Grange would spend its entire time talking to itself.
Yes, I can understand the feeling. Would you be happy to have the accused back at Powys Grange?
Of course.
Yes, even though he may lose his discharge grading?
Yes.
Even though he has no wish to return there? Even though he's described you, in this court, as a bit of a do-gooder, a bit of a mug?
We'd still have him back.
What about the others?
Others?
The other trainees, his victims. Now, supposing he returns and they are not successful in giving him the punishment they believe he deserves, might he not, in revenge, punish them?
I know nothing about any victims.
Oh, no, of course not. Then again, perhaps Stephen Fisk will get the transfer he so desires, and no doubt a change of establishment will provide a fresh supply of victims. I have no further questions.
And a person is guilty of theft if he dishonestly appropriates property belonging to another with the intention of permanently depriving the other of it. Now, the prosecution's case in a nutshell is that the accused stole these electrical goods in order to help fund his intended escape from Borstal. Later had second thoughts and went to the police station, and later still thought up a cock and bull story about being in fear. If that's what happened, you may think that the charge is proved. Now, the defence, on the other hand, say that the accused pretended to steal these goods simply to get out of that Borstal. Now, if that's true, you may feel that the accused is not guilty. But these are matters for you to decide, remembering that the prosecution must so satisfy you that you feel sure of the guilt of the accused before you can convict. If you are not so satisfied, then your verdict must be for the accused. Will you now retire, elect a foreman to speak for you, and consider your verdict?
Will the foreman of the jury please stand? Just answer yes or no to this question. Have you reached a verdict upon which you're all agreed?
Yes.
Do you find the accused guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
I have no power to vary your existing sentence of Borstal training, so you will have to go back to Borstal. However, I shall recommend that you be transferred to a different establishment. That is the only power I have.
All stand.